experience as a PTA leader and member. I stay current on my PTA membership. In fact, the reason why I ran the school board many years ago was because I was the legislative rep on one of our local PTAs. And I learned that the true heart of PTA was advocacy. And so I wanted to do more of the legislative work, but it wasn't necessarily the focus of our local unit. And so I decided that maybe serving on our local school board would help me to connect more to policy and advocacy and being able to be a voice for our students and families and community. And so I ran many, many years ago. So I'm running for re-election. But I also continue to serve in our schools and volunteer at the needs of my kids or their peers and to support our staff and faculty. I also am the CEO of our local Tacoma Urban League. There are multiple urban leagues across the country, and we help with housing, healthcare, education, employment, and fight for justice. And I run a philanthropic organization called Black Future Co-op Fund. But I love our community here in University Place. We live in Fircrest, but the part of Fircrest that's UP schools. And it really has been a great opportunity to be a great board member, to be committed to this work. And so I'm asking for our community's support for another term on our school board as I continue to put the needs of our students and district first.
Thank you very much. And next, thank you for letting me pass the mic. We will have Ms. Wojtkowski's statement by a volunteer.
Statement. Our community deserves leaders who value family engagement and strive to provide a quality education that prepares students for a limitless future. As a single mother of a mixed-race family, I understand the problems our families are facing today. There is a mental health crisis in our schools that needs to be addressed. Kids should not be burdened with unnecessary adult information that creates anxiety and fear. Instead, our focus and responsibility need to be literacy, solid math instruction, and pandemic loss learning. There must be more transparency, and the curriculum needs to be easily available for parents to review. After speaking with hundreds of parents in our community, it is clear that there is more than unites than divides. We all agree that parents should be the primary stakeholder in the decision for their kids. I believe this too. My work as a chaplain has opened my eyes to how education affects the development and path of an individual. It doesn't take a master's degree to solve this, just common sense and putting children's needs before adult politics. Vote for Linda Wow. I will fight for our children and families.
And next, Ms. Dickinson's opening statement will be read by.
This is what Mary Lee writes. I would like to thank Marisa Kellerman for reading my words to you tonight. I apologize for not being with you. For the past 28 years, I have had the pleasure to serve our community on the University Place School District Board of Directors. During my tenure on the board, our district has outperformed the state and nation and shown gains for students in academics, citizenship, health, and fitness. We continue to increase student achievement by setting and maintaining consistent policies and working closely with parents, students, staff, and the community. One of the most important things I'm reminded of quite often is how much I can learn from others. It is great to be a member of the board of diverse individuals. We have the opportunity to work together for the best results for our students, families, staff, and community. An alumna of the district, I have a special interest to keep University Place School District the best it can possibly be. I love hearing the feedback from students, parents, and staff and community members on how I can serve them better. I am the mother of 5 wonderful sons, 5 fantastic daughters-in-law, and grandmother to 13. With each decision I make on the school board, I keep them in the back of my mind. I try to make decisions that I would want for my family members. We live in an extraordinary school district, and I would love the opportunity to continue to serve you on the board.
And last, we will hear Liberty's statement.
Good evening. I'm a candidate for re-election, having served UPSD 24 years, with 10 terms as board president and 11 years as a board member for our state school boards association. representing all Pierce County districts in the business of the association. For the past 5 years, I've been a lecturer at the University of Washington, Tacoma, while serving 4 years as a board trainer for our state association. For that, I was a teacher and a school administrator at local and state levels, and am also a retired Army Lieutenant Colonel from the Corps of Engineers. My education includes a bachelor's degree from West Point, 2 master's degrees, and a doctorate in education from the University of Southern California. During my tenure, I've helped move the board from the role as a somewhat passive observer. We were, after all, an above-average school district, like with Lake Wobegon, to a board that directs at the most strategic level, creating policy that defines desired outcomes for our students, establishes a clear governance relationship with the superintendent, that delegates authority, and then holds accountable for exercise of that authority. Results have seen a steady improvement over the past 2 decades, so that we are now consistently #1 in all measures within this county and among the top districts in our state and nation. I want us to continue to grow as a district wherever we fall short. We are not perfect, and we need your involvement to hold us accountable for making needed adjustments.
Thank you very much. Now we are going to get to the exciting part of the meeting. The questions. Each candidate has 1 minute to respond to the 9 following questions, and we'll go in the same order each time. So, first question is, public education is essential to a successful society. Across the country, we see school districts crippled by an inability to secure funding, appropriate staff, and all the necessary resources to ensure success for students. What will be your budget priorities to ensure that UP schools are successful and supported, not just during your time, but the decades to come? Nobles?
Thank you. And again, thank you all so much for coming out tonight. Not only do I serve as a school board member, but I have served as a public school teacher. I received my Master of Arts in Teaching from the University of Puget Sound. And so I have studied public education, worked in public schools. And so I understand the challenges that face our schools. What I also have learned as a school board member is we have a very specific role that we play here at University Place. As Rick mentioned, we are a policies governance board. And so we determine our budget priorities by what is listed in our policies. So we determine the what's, and then our superintendent and other administrators and staff determine the how. And so our budget priorities will continue to be what is listed in our ends policies, what's listed in our executive limitations policies. We require that our school district follows all of the laws that tell us what we should be doing budgetarily as a district. But we also have some specific things in our policies, like our district must make sure we're prioritizing closing gaps.
You're out of time, Ms. Nobles.
Oh, thank you.
Say something, baby. Ms. Wojciechowski did not submit an answer to the question, so we will move on to Ms. Dickinson's proxy.
To ensure that UP schools are successful and supported now and in the long term, our current school board has set goals that were based on what we heard from our community. We call them ENDS policies. They aim for success in 3 broad areas: academics, character and citizenship, and health fitness. I really believe in our overarching goal, and I want all of our students to become confident, contributing citizens in our community and throughout the world as they leave our schools. Our budget is based on successfully accomplishing these end policies. The current board has set expectations and limitations and monitors the district at our board meetings throughout the year to ensure compliance within the parameters set. For instance, the district is required to maintain reserves for emergencies. Thank you.
Now on to Rick.
Okay, internally within the district, within the area that we control, there are 2 priorities that I have, and I'm sure I share them with all citizens, fitness and health goals that we set. And number 2, listen to community members and align the budget with community values. to inform those ends policies, but also to inform the annual budget process itself. Part of our accountability program is to demand reports from the superintendent every year on areas such as budget and spending.
The second question. What are your thoughts on the current curriculum that is taught at the primary school level in our district? Specifically, the desk-heavy focus on math and enforcement strategies. I will let everyone introduce you. Pass it.
Thank you. Well, in our district, we definitely have a long-standing philosophy of high academic standards, making sure that there is the appropriate academic knowledge as our students move through each level. And so our students typically start at a higher place. As it was mentioned by my colleagues, we outperform the state in so many areas, and our goal is to outperform the state in every single area. And so we want to make sure that we maintain those high standards. We also are always facing with the interest. So while we do value the arts here and have robust arts programs, there are districts that have simply cut music. You know, you can't participate in orchestra or band as a part of the school year. And so we want to make sure that our students benefit from the high expectations that are set by the board, that our students continue to outperform the state, and simply that our students have those very high academic outcomes. And we'll continue to rely on our community partnerships and also the before and after school programs to help our students with those extracurriculars that they can find here at University Place.
We're passing over Ms. Wojciechowski to the next response.
Mary Lou Dickinson says, much of what is taught in our schools is mandated by our state. However, there's also a belief that if students become fluent communicators and are able to understand and problem solve, they will be able to manage their future life more successfully. Our board has set high expectations for academic performance in our ENDS policy number 2 for all students. In addition to ELA and math, students in our schools enjoy a full array of arts, science, recess, music, and PE classes. My kids, while going on through UPSD, participated in music, whether strings, band, or choir. Some were able to choose more than one music class. I am always willing to listen to our community if they think that we need to adjust our course. Thank you.
Curriculum is an area assigned to the superintendent, who must assure that primary school students are making reasonable progress in academic achievement to assure success at higher levels, culminating in graduation with the knowledge and skills to prepare them for successful citizenship. The delegation of that authority is meaningless without accountability. And part of that accountability conversation is to listen to the community members for their concerns and ensure the superintendent takes those concerns into account. Guidance to the superintendent in our policies includes expressed community values that support the arts, for example. Our district has a tradition of arts education that has sustained a strong music program despite occasional budget pressures. However, achievement of excellence among similar districts in both math and English language arts test scores has an impact on other decisions. We take community feedback seriously and expect the superintendent to balance competing priorities.
Thank you, everyone. Third question is, do you consider diversity, equity, and inclusion to be of ongoing importance? If so, what are your priorities, and if not, why?
Thank you. I definitely see diversity, equity, and inclusion as a priority of mine personally. Now, we work as a board, so there are 5 of us who work together on the board, but I would say it's a priority of our board. And we've done things like make sure that our actual policies are incorporating an equity lens and are thinking of our diverse student body and are making sure that our policies are inclusive, and whether we're talking about ability or identity based on gender or based on religion, however our students show up to our schools, we want to meet their needs. And so if they need special ed services, or if we pay attention specifically to our subgroups and the gaps that exist, or if we need to pay attention to our low-income students or our students who have English as their second language, we want to make sure we are a district that shows up for each of those students. And I do believe that DEI remains a priority for each of us in the school board, but in particular remains a priority of mine.
Ms. Woodkowski did not submit an answer to this question.
Mary Lou says, diversity, equity, and inclusion are important and always should be important in the University Place School District. We are all different and have had different experiences. Some of us have lived in University Place their whole lives, and others have come from places around the globe. We can learn much from each other. We should celebrate each other's strengths and achievements. All should be welcome and should be treated with respect and dignity. I don't consider equity to mean equal. Each student should be given the tools and skills that they need to be successful throughout their lives. Some may require more and some may require less, but all should be given what they need to become confident, contributing citizens.
The answer to the question is yes, but it is important. My priorities are first at the broadest level to assure that all students are achieving at the highest possible levels of educational progress. To achieve number one, the district must ensure that all students benefit from a school environment conducive to learning. This requires elimination of factors that interfere, including bullying, discrimination, inequitable treatment in the classroom. It also requires we continuously assess progress and provide equitable, targeted interventions to help those who are falling behind. The goal of all these priorities is a student body whose success cannot be predicted on factors such as race, religion, ethnic origin, sex, gender, or other demographic characteristics.
For our next question, what do you feel should be done, if anything, to create a safe and inclusive learning environment for students of color, LGBTQ+ students, and students with special needs or disabilities?
Thank you. I think everything that we can do in our power should be done for students who identify in any of those ways. I think it's important that as a district and as district leaders, we are honest about the societal issues and the academic and social issues that face our students of color and our LGBTQ community and our students who have special needs or identify in other ways. We want to make sure in this district that every student feels welcome, that every student has an opportunity to see themselves. And so whether it is, flying a flag or seeing colors that represent LGBTQ, whether it's prioritizing hiring faculty and staff of color, whether it's making sure that we're fully funding our special ed programs so that our students who have particular needs have those resources, we want to make sure that we're doing everything that we can. And to make sure that we are not accepting any type of discrimination or hate based on religion, based on class in our district. So it's our job to make students feel that they belong and to keep students safe.
Ms. Woodkowski did not submit an answer to this question.
Mary Lou states, to me, all students means all students. All students should feel welcome and engaged in their education. We should help all students reach their highest potential, no matter what challenges they face or special needs they may have. I will continue to work with the community to advocate for all students, to improve students' educational and career opportunities, and to build a strong foundation for a successful future for all.
School efforts to address safe and inclusive learning environments must be defined and clarified at each school and classroom, encouraged through regular adult and peer efforts, specifically targeted at preventing harmful behaviors and encouraging positive behaviors, and enforced through adult and peer response that stops harmful behavior, followed by reinforcement of positive alternative behavior. Those are just a lot of words, but the point is, as Mary Lou said, all means all. The board believes that.
Our next question is, classroom teachers in the district are 83% white and 78% female. Do you consider it a priority to recruit staff that better reflects the demographics of the district? It's made up of 55% non-white students.
And that is a great question. I first want to start off by thanking all of the teachers in our district who show up each day to care about our students. I also know that diversifying teaching staff or just hiring more teachers in general is not a UPSD problem. That is a national problem. Everyone everywhere wants more teachers. And so this is something that we advocate for as a part of our legislative agenda as a board to provide more resources for teacher preparation. How can we certify more paras to go into teaching? Folks who know our students. Our para population is typically, paraeducator population is typically more diverse than our teaching staff population. So how can we continue to bridge that gap? But in general, in University Place, as a whole district and at every single school, we have more students of color. And so it is a priority of mine, but I know it's a priority of the district as we go out and recruit and try to find more teachers and principals of color that we want to continue to diversify the workforce so that students can see someone that looks like them, that speaks the same language as them, who identifies as them. So this will remain a priority of the board and of our district.
Ms. Nobles, you're out of time.
Ms. Wojciechowski did not submit an answer for this question.
Mary Lou states, effort has been made by the University Place School District Administration to seek out diverse staff when opening staff become available. With the national teachers shortage, it has been difficult to recruit teachers of color. We have a wonderful staff who is diverse in many aspects. I have been heartened when I have heard of current teachers at the junior high and high school come back and teach in the University Place School District. Our district is a place where people love to come teach. We may need our community's help in getting more high-quality teachers of a diverse racial background to apply.
Right. Yes, I do consider it desirable to have similar demographics among staff and students. Students do respond to the people who are teaching them. And the more they feel they're part of that community, the better it is. Our district's affirmative action plan has established long-established goals that remain to be achieved, but are nevertheless pursued in recruiting highly qualified and diverse applicants. As a former state level administrator responsible for certification and as a recruiter at a school district level, I've studied and reported on educator supply and demand in Washington, carried out targeted recruiting that doubled the percentage of non-white teachers in 6 years at Highline School District. So I understand from a staff perspective, but from a board perspective, I hold that as a very high priority. We do already have an advantage in this district because of our reputation that we can, I won't say poach, we can recruit from neighboring districts, and we do take advantage of that.
Next question is, what are your thoughts on the current social promotional program?
Thank you. And I wasn't sure if there was like a question or a concern connected to this question because it's a little bit in the weeds. And we govern by policy. But I will say it's my understanding that in our primary grades, we have a second step curriculum in addition to other pieces of school experience, setting goals and expectations, making sure students are communicating, expecting each other's spaces that are part of our social and emotional learning curriculum. We also have state standards that direct what we have to legally provide as social and emotional curriculum. So I feel like I trust the direction of the district and our policies that govern how curriculum is selected. And as a mother of 4 students, 2 who have graduated from UPSD and 2 who are currently still in the district, I feel pleased with the social and emotional and holistic experience that my students experience in school and after school, whether it's with their peers or their teachers and others.
Ms. Wojciechowski did not submit an answer to this question.
Mary Lou states, our current K through 5 SEL curriculum is called Second Step. The lessons can be delivered by counselors or classroom teachers. Some schools and classrooms also use zones of regulation. This is more of a system of short lessons than a curriculum, and it helps teach students to monitor their own emotions and self-regulate. Learning skills to support healthy development and relationships is also important. Self-awareness, self-control, and interpersonal skills will be needed at school and in the student's future for work and life success. Our ENDS policy 3 addresses this and is monitored every year by the board. This should also be across the district, happening in every classroom. Skills such as conflict resolution, cooperation and teamwork, leadership, responsible decision-making, and inclusiveness, in my opinion, should be taught.
I know where I am. Student social and emotional development is not only a challenge for parents, but also for school staff who partner with parents in the education of their children. Board policy requires school and classroom environments that are conducive to learning. So students' social development and their emotional health is a concern, and it's essential to the success of the citizen after graduation. As part of this responsibility, the district trains staff in social emotional skills designed to help students feel safe and secure, both physically and emotionally, while in school. We consider these efforts to be in a state of continuous improvement, as teacher skills in this and other areas of professional competency, like the students they serve, are never perfect. The job is never done.
Scientific evidence suggests teens should wake up later, but the school day starts at 7:30 for junior high and senior high school students. Additionally, intermediate school starts over an hour later than that, cause coordination issues for families. Do you think our district should adjust start times on higher grade students, and why or why not?
That's a great question. And as a parent of a senior who wakes up maybe 10 minutes before the bus is going to arrive, I understand the feeling of my 17-year-old wanting to wake up early. And my seventh grader is always up by 6 o'clock, 5:30. But the reality is, it's a logistical issue in our district. I mean, it's a very complicated problem for us to fix. And if we started our youngest learners earlier, then that would mean my son or primary kids, primary age students would be right now in autumn outside in a pitch black waiting for a bus. And I don't think as a community, that's what we want for our students. And I do know that even if we modify from what we have now, which is just the right amount of buses and bus drivers to do 3 shifts for our school district, if we change that to meet, the needs that are expressed here in this question, we still would meet the needs of all of our students. So I think here at UPSD, we are doing what we need to do and always open to feedback and improvement. I'm grateful for our
Ms.
drivers.
Nobles, you're out of time.
Thank you.
Ms. Wojciechowski did not submit an answer to this question.
Mary Lou Dickinson states, this issue comes up every couple of years. There are many pros and cons and things to consider when making a change in start times for our schools. If a community member came to me with compelling information that a change in start times would help the majority of students in our district and would not negatively impact a large number of students and families, I would certainly consider it.
I don't have a yes or no response to this question. The district has struggled with this issue and others for many years. Decision-making about school start times takes into account research into the many factors impacting student learning, listening to the views of the community and family members, consideration of competing budget demands, availability of funding from local, state, national sources, and regional, state, athletic association bodies, among others. All are a regular part of such decision-making. One value often has unintended consequences that compete with other values. Spending more money for transportation demands reduces money that's available for other purposes. Starting secondary school later has an impact on after-school extracurricular, such as the requirement to collaborate on sports. Superintendent remains open to input on programs, and the board remains open to input on policy.
Youth gun violence teen suicide, and fentanyl epidemic are major safety crises facing Washington students. What are your thoughts and or plans to ensure that students in our schools are safe and our district implements provisions mandated by recent legislation regarding firearm safety and fentanyl education?
Thank you. Well, first and foremost, as a board, we'll continue to make sure our policies are going to keep our students safe, even when we're talking about drugs and substance use disorders, but also we're going to continue to comply with state law. And that's the simplest way. We'll follow the law to protect our students. But in a true wifely fashion, I know in our district will also continue to go above and beyond to protect our students. I mean, one example is we engaged in a lawsuit against Jewel Labs for propagating to our students for making vaping seem like it was appropriate for kids and its flavors and its display of options. And we participated in the settlement agreement. So we will go as far as suing folks who are harming our kids, but we'll continue to also educate our students, keep them safe, and make sure that we are doing everything that we can as a district to protect our students through policy, through law, and through the love that is spread throughout our University Place district, admin and staff.
Ms. Wojciechowski did not submit an answer to this question.
Mary Lou Dickinson states, the board requires the school district to follow the law. The superintendent makes the board aware of changes that will impact our students. As these laws are changed, the district implements these changes. The district has a suicide prevention plan in place in order to protect our students. Staff are trained to be aware of instances that might prove threatening to staff and or students, and when and how to report it up the chain immediately. It is important for staff and students to feel safe at school.
Our expectation is that the superintendent will keep the board updated on any new legislation, will keep the district in alignment with law, as well as make prudent decisions to ensure the safety of both students and staff. Awareness of threats that may exist is a high priority, and action to reduce such threats is critical. Our staff are expected to be alert to their presence and to teach students appropriate awareness or knowledge and avoidance skills. Part of our monitoring process is a requirement that the superintendent report to us on many aspects of the district program, and safety, fentanyl education, firearm safety, etc. Are all reported to us on a yearly basis. Whenever in that conversation, we determine that we need to adjust guidance, we do follow up those reports with an updating of policy.
And our final question, do you believe that parents should be more involved in district decisions? If so, how would you balance the conflicting opinions from different parent groups on these decisions?
Thank you. I think this question means something different than it is asking, but I'm going to answer the question that's in front of me. So do I think that parents should be more involved in district decisions? I think that parents are doing the very best that they can do. And I remember when I stayed at home with my kids for 5 years, I had more time to be at the school, for PTA, to be a class mom. I just simply had more time to participate in district decisions. And now I serve as a school board member, but I work multiple jobs. And I'm, taking care of my kids as best as I can. When I stayed at home, I was married. Now I'm home, now I'm working multiple jobs and functioning as a single parent. And so I think parents need to do what's best for them. So it's not my job to direct them. What I also know in this district is we provide multiple opportunities for parents to engage in district decisions. And whether it's decisions around curriculum or decisions around, book fair selection, or to participate in PTA, or participate in concerts
You're out of
or
time,
athletics.
Noble.
There are multiple opportunities to engage as parents, and I hope parents do the best that they can do.
Ms. Wojciechowski did not submit an answer to this question.
Mary Lou Dickinson states, we have tried to link with our community to gather feedback on our policies, especially our ends policies. We have called these gatherings linkage meetings. Usually we have very few parents who are willing to attend to give us their opinions. I believe we get the best decision when we explore multiple viewpoints, so I value parent input to decisions. I will always listen to all sides before making my decision on board matters. I also have an expectation that the school administrators will listen to parents before making decisions at their levels.
While reading the question, I immediately thought of calendar, which you can find great disagreement among every one of our communities. Parents should be involved in district decisions. The extent of their involvement depends on their availability, but we do encourage such involvement. Parent input is welcome not only at board meetings, but also through other meetings, such as district committee work if their schedule permits. Every year we schedule meetings and parts of meetings that are dedicated to serve as listening sessions. We receive input from community members about major policies that define desired student outcomes. During those sessions, we often receive input about a variety of programs that are designed to result in those desired student outcomes. So we not only hear about what is desired for students, but also how they are achieved. Sometimes such input does not elicit an immediate response, but I can assure you, 24 years of service, I've found over time, many of those inputs have resulted in decisions.
You're out of time, Mr. Maloney.
Thank you to all the candidates for answering these questions from the community. We now have an opportunity for a closing statement from each of you, so that would be one.
Again, I thank you all for attending tonight. I'm here because I'm interested in asking for your support to serve another term in our school year. I think Maurice and I are the youngest serving board members on our school board, but it has been a pleasure to bring my experience and background and love for our community to the school board with the focus on not politics, but on students and student outcomes and making sure that we're providing a quality education for each of our students. While I have served on the school board, we continue to maintain high graduation rates, high participation in college preparatory experiences, but also paying attention to what students are saying they need, and whether that is preparing them for the real world or supporting them in their mental health and behavioral health, or simply making sure that we're providing support for their social and emotional learning. This is a district that I love, and this is a position that I have served well in as a board member. And so I ask for your support as you're receiving your voters pamphlet and ballots here in the next week. And just thank you all again for attending.
Ms. Wojciechowski did not submit an statement.
Mary Lou Dickinson states, "Thank you for the support you give to our schools and to our students. The University Place School District means the world to me. I value each student in our school district, and I want to help them fulfill their dreams by preparing them with the needed tools and skills. Sustaining the high performance of the district will present future challenges. My experience will assist the district in facing these challenges. It would be an honor to continue serving you on the University Place School Board. Please feel free to contact me or our board president should you have input that you would like to share with me or with the board. Thank you."
The board's purpose is to be the community's representative, ensuring the district works by achieving what the community wants for its students, while avoiding unacceptable situations or conditions that we put into policy. We listen to hear the values of the community and then put those into policy. Following a continuous loop of monitoring for results and monitoring for alignment with those values, we update policy and we assure that we continue to listen to the community. As reflected by ranking among the top 10 school districts in Washington under niche.com, or the top 20 schooldigger.com, we're doing well, particularly when you look at other districts. Our demographics, both higher rates of student poverty and greater student ethnic diversity, reflect very favorably. We're not complacent. You can be assured of a mindset that promotes continuous improvement. We try harder.
Thank you very much to all the candidates for your responses. And this will wrap things up.
Your presence at this candidate forum is greatly appreciated. Throughout this evening, had the privilege of hearing from our candidates and exploring their visions for our community. As we conclude, we encourage you to stay engaged, make informed decisions, and remember the power of your vote. Our democracy thrives when we participate and when we work together. We want to thank the candidates, organizers, and all of you for your commitment to University Place's future. Let's continue to shape a better tomorrow through our civic involvement. Since we are ending early, feel free to speak with our candidates well entirely in respect. Have a good night. Remember to vote on November 7th.